sono qui per presentarvi la nuova edizione di Trieste Next. Il titolo della 14ª edizione di Trieste Next è La vita dentro, dialoghi tra scienze e tecnologie. 3 giorni per riflettere su come la scienza e la tecnologia ridefiniscono la vita, su come le discipline STEM dialogano con le scienze umane e su quali nuove domande emergono per il nostro futuro. Medicina di precisione, intelligenza artificiale, sostenibilità ambientale, robotica, biotecnologie e tecnologie quantistiche sono solo alcuni dei temi al centro di Trieste Next. È questo il fil rouge del festival, con un programma di oltre 100 eventi in inglese e italiano e oltre 300 relatori di fama internazionale. E ancora, il premio Trieste Next Science Book of the Year, le 70 attività per le scuole e i 40 spazi espositivi e laboratori aperti a tutti in Piazza Unità. Prima di accogliere gli ospiti del prossimo evento, a nome dei promotori e copromotori della manifestazione, vorrei ringraziare tutte le istituzioni scientifiche di Trieste, città della conoscenza, e le istituzioni che hanno collaborato con noi, il main partner del festival, i partner e i content partner della manifestazione per il contributo fondamentale. Grazie anche ai media partner e ai partner tecnici. Infine, un grazie speciale ai 200 volontari di questa edizione. Ricordatevi anche di controllare il programma aggiornato degli eventi su www.triestenext.it, al quale potete accedere anche da questo codice QR. Buon ascolto e buon festival!
Perfect. Okay. Can you hear me? Yes. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm Gabriele Baj, and it's a pleasure in this occasion, during the Trieste Next, to present to all of you our project, what we produced in the last year and a half. We decide we are different reality, from university to CNR to they will be presented by my colleague Mattia. And I will present as a chair the four of the members of our network. The network you see presented here is called All Micro. We came out from an idea together to make a system, to make a network of facility and knowledge and interaction with company based on the requirements of seeing the world in microscopy. So we are more or less all expert in microscopy. We share techniques. We have specific techniques in our portfolio. And we decide, thanks to the Interreg funding, so the European Union and the Interreg funding for the region, for the interregion Italia and Slovenia, to share and to create this common pathway to allow small companies, privates, and individuals, a research center, not to access to a single microscopy techniques, but to several different techniques, to the best techniques for their requirement. Here with me today, and I will immediately leave the words, we have Mattia from the University of Nova Gorica, Behnaz from the CNR-IOM, up here in the Padriciano, in Basovica, center. Then we have Paulina, which is an important member of the Tec4I, the organization in Friuli Venezia Giulia taking contact with the company, and it's an hub, industrial hub. It's a transfer hub, she will describe it. And Professor Dragan from Nano Center, which is a great, I would say, center in Ljubljana, which is our main partner on the other side. So now I will leave the word to Mattia to describe a little bit what we are into.
Thank you very much. My name is Mattia Fanetti, and let me see if it works. Yes. So I come from University of Nova Gorica. The University of Nova Gorica has 3 campuses, one in Nova Gorica, as you can see in the map, one in Ajdovština, and one in Vipava. The microscopy center of University of Nova Gorica is in the Ajdovština campus. And in our microscopy center, we have one SEM, this is scanning electron microscopy, scanning electron microscope, sorry, and we have a TM, transmission electron microscope, and several machines for sample preparation. In 2024, we started a project, as Gabriele said, a project which is called All Micro. The project started to address some problems which are in our region. First of all, we have to say that in our region, and when I say region, I say Friuli Venezia Giulia, but also the western part of Slovenia. In this region, there are several high-end facilities for microscopy. There are very good labs for this. Not only in Basovizza, but also at the university, in Ljubljana, of course, and also in our university. But there is not much collaboration between these microscopy centers. So this is a pity, because we can, of course, if we collaborate, we can share expertise and the instruments, of course, but also the experience. And another thing that we have to say is that there is not much collaboration in this region between the companies and also the research institutes, for example, hospitals or other research institutes, together with the microscopy center. So there is not much collaboration. So we said, why don't we make a network of the laboratories in order to share the expertise and the instruments, and also to more effectively interface with the external users, so that they can come and see what microscopy can do for them, and they can try, and they can start some innovation and some problem solving with the help of microscopy. So we made this, so the aim of this project is exactly this: to share expertise, to better interface with the users, the local people, and to diffuse this message that microscopy can help your company, your research institute to do your job. Few facts about this project. It started in April 2024, and it lasts 2 years. The budget is about 1 million, and it's founded by the Interreg program, a program which is devoted to favor and facilitate the integration between the two regions on the two sides of the border. The consortium, the network, is made of 6 partners. There are 4 microscopy laboratories. You can see them in red in the map. And these laboratories are the lead partner, which is Università di Trieste, Department of Life Science. Then there is the IOM-CNR in Basovizza, University of Nova Gorica, and Nano Center in Ljubljana. And then there are also 2 partners which are not laboratories, but they are more facilitating the interaction between the companies and the labs. And these are the Primorsky Technology Park in Nova Gorica and Tec4I in Udine and all the Friuli region. These are just a few images about the facilities which are shared in this network of laboratory. There are, of course, the most, well, there are several, let's say, we can divide the technologies into electron microscope and optical microscope, but there are also some scanning probe microscope. And just to mention, we have several scanning electron microscope. These are very versatile microscopes which are used in many fields. We have also transmission electron microscope. We have FIB, and maybe someone will be said later about this. We have a very powerful optical microscope, especially here in University of Trieste. And we have also scanning tunneling microscopy, atomic force microscopy, and Raman microscopy. These are all techniques which allow you to study very in high detail your materials, your product, your cells, or your viruses, or your nanoparticles that you can produce in your company or in your research institute, and you can understand at a very high level of detail, a very high resolution, what is your system. And that's it from my side. Of course, later if you have questions, you can ask. And now I leave the word to Behnaz.
Good afternoon. Yes. Okay. Good afternoon. Is it okay? No? Okay. Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. And my name is Behnaz Abbasgholi, and I am very happy to see you all here. And I am a postdoctoral researcher at IOM-CNR, and I am a member of the board of the experts in ALMICRO project. And I am originally from Iran, and I have a PhD in chemistry. And my research, I have experience in different laboratories, chemical, biological laboratories, but for recent years, I am mainly working with scanning electron microscopy. And in this regard, I am helping users, external and internal users. And right now, I am working on a project for developing new methods for improved imaging with scanning electron microscopy. And also, I am collaborating with other laboratories through ALMICRO project. And about our center, which is CNR-IOM, in our center, our focus is on the material science and nanotechnology and biology. And our mission is to open advanced science to the academia, to the researchers from academia, from industry, and also institutions. Instruments, microscopic instruments, which are available in ALMICRO project from our center, are electron microscopy, both transmission electron microscopy, and in the future we will have cryo-EM, especially for biological sample. And right now we have a scanning electron microscopy, which has focused ion beam and also cryo stage. And regarding optical microscopy, we have confocal fluorescence microscopy and digital holography microscopy, and also atomic force microscopy. There is a problem everywhere, is the access to the necessary tools and skills, especially for advanced and high-tech technology, requires money, a lot of money. This is, for sure, is common in everywhere. And this is costly and limited. So this is a problem, high costs. And for example, to have an advanced microscopy in a center, you need at least multi-million euros. And imagine when you buy this instrument, you need also someone who is highly expert working with this instrument. And it is not just one multi-million euro just for one microscopy, but one microscopy cannot cover all your needs. Okay, so the problem goes up. Now we need also a skilled expert person to work with all this microscopic, to be updated, and all of this stuff. And most of institutions, and they cannot afford such a huge money and such a efforts. So what will happen? We will have a big gap in the innovation. Of course, small researchers, let's say, I have to say small researchers, small institutions, they start recently, they cannot move ahead, and just companies or centers that they have enough money, they can go ahead. So the solution that we found was to create a network. And this network is through all micro project and between the microscopy labs in Italy and Slovenia. And in this network, we can share training, we can offer training skills to applicants from Italy and also Slovenia. We can provide them instruments and help them with their instruments that they need for the experiments. TEM, AFM, SEM, and also we can support them scientifically. We can have discussion about the project that they are working on it. We can propose a method, and also we can help them with interpret the results. So another important thing is that in this network we can enable the pilot projects to be proof feasibility before large investments. That is really crucial for industry. Here I will give you two examples that our centers we face, and we solve these two issues, let's say, through all micro project. The first one was that we wanted in our center to have SEM image of the cells. And we wanted to prepare the cells in a specific way, and for doing this, we needed to use, for example, osmium and uranium, which are materials that even if we have, we cannot use. We don't have permission to use these materials. Another thing, we didn't have experience about this, and we needed also ultramicrotomy for this sample preparation. What we did, we used this all micro project. We had collaboration with the University of Trieste, and we received really good training, and also we had quite good scientific support from the experts, and we prepare our samples in University of Trieste, and then partially we did the preparation in the university, and then the rest in our center. So through a collaboration, we could solve the problem, and we were successful. And this was what we wanted. And finally, the aim was to do this project, and we did. Another example that I can tell you is that right now I am working on a project that to introduce enhanced method for SEM imaging. And for this, I need to have quality metrics that is specifically for SEM images. It means that in this quality metric, I have to evaluate SEM images, but with the quality metrics that is just for SEM images, and without any reference. And I understood that I can solve it, and I did with area science park, a collaboration. We created this quality metric we developed, but there is another problem. This quality metric, this model should be trained with a lot of images, SCM images coming from different laboratories, coming from different SCM instruments, evaluated by different experts. So the solution now is really obvious. We can have a network, we can have collaboration through all micro projects between the SCM laboratories and experts, and to have such a quality metrics. And I hope in the future, very soon, we can have very good quality metric for SCM images. And from my side is this, and if you have questions, I will answer you later.
So, hello everybody. I would like to tell you about how we currently in the project assisting the public institution and also the companies in adopting these advanced technologies and to enhance their competitiveness and productivity. So I start from myself. My name is Paulina Piotrowicz. I am a project manager at Tec4I, responsible for European projects. I started in academia teaching and doing some research, but now I'm completely dedicated to European projects. And with my colleagues from Tec4I, we work to build bridges between science institutions, companies, to foster innovation in Friuli-Venezia region and also beyond. So Tec4I, we recently celebrated our 25th anniversary. We started our history in 2000 by established Friuli-Innovazione Consortium and then Technological Park, Luigi Danieli. And step by step, we grow till today, where we have 4 specialized hubs. 4 specialized hubs, 1 for additive manufacturing, 1 for is a data center, and we also have 2 hubs, 1 responsible for access to finance for our companies, and the last but not least, is dedicated to help startups, growing startups, because we are also a certificate incubator. Yes, our main goal is to support businesses and harness the potential of innovation. We do it by promote economic sustainability, generating a tangible impact on our territory, and we work closely with other regional key actors in innovation. Yes, basically we try to put together all these perspectives. We try to speed up technological transfer and to turn the results from the research to real business opportunities. Yes. How do we try to do it? What methodology we apply in this work? I would like to focus a little bit of our additive manufacturing laboratory, because it's a good example or how these technologies, advanced technologies, can be open and transferred to the SMEs, especially SMEs. Within our laboratory, we give opportunity to the companies to do a rapid prototyping, do reverse engineering, or to do material selection. So we use the approach of test before invest, and in this way our companies can check if their ideas can be very scalable on a large scale without taking too much risk. And here you can see some of our works. We use metallic and polymeric materials. Recently, we also helped with some renovation of art pieces. Here you can see some of numbers related to the companies we supported, companies who discovered additive manufacturing. Hours we dedicate to print their ideas to make them real, and students trained in additive manufacturing. Basically, here you can see our staff. Basically, it's what we also do in All Micro project, because as a technology hub, we encourage collaboration between research, science, and enterprises. Tec4I builds bridges in this sense. So we try to understand the needs of the companies and translate them to the researchers. And on the other side, we hear what researchers have to say us, what their knowledge, and try to understand how to translate it into real opportunities. Because we know that these advanced technologies are the solution to foster innovation, also to give possibilities to companies to grow, to expand, to go to markets, to abroad markets. So this is our role. We try to speak a common language, to elaborate a common language for these words. And this is essential to speed up the technology transfer and to put these scientific results in industrial application. To do that, in All Micro, we introduce a two-level communication strategy in some way. So we present for companies the microscopy solutions, and we show them that it can be an answer for their needs, for their problems, for their challenges. And on the other hand, we also speak with researchers, and we help them explain their science and to transfer their knowledge to the broader world. And in this way, we brought into the further community innovation, and we try to foster this gap between two worlds. So All Micro, in a sense, is not only for a science, it's not only a science, it's All Micro is about building a territory where the innovation is collaborative, accessible, and transformative. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for giving a nice overview of All Micro. It's great because I don't really have to go into the technical details, but I'll try and be a bit more practical. That's one of the things. And also, as the last speaker, I'd like to give you a flavor of the challenges in microscopy that are likely to be of interest to companies as well as young researchers and maybe even senior researchers. But the focus is on young researchers. So, my name is Dragan Mihailovic. I am primarily a scientist. I don't want to mention any of my other duties like directorships or anything like that. It's irrelevant. So what matters is that microscopy, in principle, which is the best microscope? It's the one that you have. But the next best, or even better than that, is the microscope that you can choose from. So you can choose the microscope you want. And here I have a list of all the microscopes within All Micro. So you can count them. There are all sorts of, it was already explained, they have different kinds. So let's suppose that you're a young researcher or a company, work in a startup company, or just maybe a large company, doesn't matter. And that one mode of operation that we have devised already in the recent past is the proof of concept project. What that means is, let's suppose, as I said, you're a young guy, you want to do something, you have an idea, you want to check something, you need a microscope, okay? And the proof of concept works in such a way that you just have a very low threshold for reaching the equipment you need. Essentially, it's all paid for, you just do it, and you don't need to involve management, you don't need to involve anyone high up to approve any money or anything like that. You simply go and do it for the first day. Of course, if it works, you have an easy job to persuade your boss that you should continue to use this, and this is the idea of the proof of concept. And in fact, in this All Micro, in the first 15 months that it's been running, we've already had 9 such completed projects, and others are currently running. You're not meant to read this, it's just an outline of what the topics are, but it has companies on both sides of the sort of non-existing border between Italy and Slovenia. All right, so the next thing I want to show you, discuss is the challenges. Now, I think I like this quote by Enzo Ferrari. It says, the best car is always the next one. Presumably he's crashed the last one, but we won't worry about that. So in our case, the best microscope is always the next generation. We would like to expand the frontiers of microscopy. Now, of course, in science in general, you all know that frontiers were always related to new equipment, whether it was astronomy or microscopy. Galileo had a good microscope, and that enabled him, telescope, enabled him to do wonders with that. If you have a next generation microscope, it works the same. And I'm going to try and, well, what you see on these pictures are essentially electron microscopy, mostly images, but I'll all in biological and non-biological samples, electronics. Typically, for example, a good application in electronics is your device doesn't work. You make a chip, and if for some reason there's something wrong, and you need to know why. Typically, it's a materials issue. There's some deposition of some different materials that don't work together very well, or there's something like that. What you want to do is you cut it up, and that's usually something called a focus ion beam microscope, and then you put that into an electron microscope, and you can see the profile of that. And the idea is that you can see things down to nanometer size, and I'll show you something in the next slides. What is relevant to that? Now, before I do that, so this All Micro involves also healthcare or medical applications, and I think this is one of the challenges which may be worth mentioning. Now, I'm not an expert on this, and I'm sure that there are people who know more about that in the audience, but there's one aspect which really is very inspiring, and that is that you'll be able to use multiple microscopies on a single cell to measure proteomics, measure RNA, proteins, and metabolites in a single cell at the same time. And why is that useful? Because essentially you're not making statistics, you're doing everything on one particular sample. And I think this is very much in the current, how shall I say, or near future, which is just one example of what the future is coming. Of course, it's all going to be powered by AI, in the image analysis these days is useful to have that. The second example, which I'd like to go into a bit more detail, is one that I'm working on, and that is essentially looking at quantum circuits for quantum computers. Now, this is what you see here on the right is a Josephson junction. This is a junction between two aluminum, actually it's a silicon aluminum oxide aluminum junction. It's part of something called a transmon device, which is, you can find them inside, for example, IBM or Google quantum computers. The basic problem is that when you make material deposition, like these cartoons in the middle, they're not perfect. The material is never perfect. Unfortunately, I mean, that's nature. And it's these imperfections which cause a lot of problems, not only in quantum computers, but also in ordinary electronics. That's what I mentioned earlier. And you really want to analyze what's going on at these interfaces, what kind of surface chemistry, surface phenomena are happening. And the way to do it, the first thing you do is cut it and look at the cross-section. This is what this slide shows on the right. Now you can go further than that, and then you can actually go increase your resolution. And this is a particular case of a quantum material which is used for memories. And what you see here, now let me see if I can make this run. Yes, okay. So the microscope is a scanning tunneling microscope. It involves a tip, which is scanning, as you see on the left, as a bit like almost like a gramophone. And it's capable of very high resolution. You can see in the middle there's an atomic resolution image. Those little balls are atoms. But what you see on the right is something unusual, and that is a real-time movie of the motion of single electrons. Now this is an electron. Each individual white blob is an electron. Okay, you can see that there's a domain wall of electronics superlattices which is moving, and this is what you're seeing. So what you're actually observing is motion of individual electrons. And this device was essentially made with a German company and a company at CNR-IOM Micro in Trieste, or up in the hills. So the amazing feature of this is quite new. I'll try and make this work. Next slide, no? Nope. Okay, great. This is another example of such a picture. So, and on the right you see the trajectories of single electrons. So these white dots actually represent single electrons. And what you're seeing that is motion in real time. If there's anybody who wants to get into a discussion of the quantum problems of that imaging, I'm glad to do it, but after this. So the next, oops, sorry, went too far here. One slide back. Yeah, here. Now what this technology enables us is to actually measure the noise and where it's coming from. So what you saw in the last image was this dancing white balls. What we can do is actually measure the current fluctuations in each of these pixels, and from that we can construct an image of where the noise that you see on the right originates, and that's in the purple image on the left, in the bottom. Okay, so that's the amplitude of the noise, which you see up on the right. Okay, on the right you see noise, and you see it's telegraph. It's called telegraph noise because it's got these little, well, it looks like a telegraph signal if you sort of use your imagination. But anyway, not only do we measure the noise amplitude in purple, but we also measure the phase of that noise. In other words, is this, if it's a two-level system, whether the system is occupied or not. And finally, we can also image the displacement of the electrons and the phase of the displacement. So this is essentially all the information that you can possibly get on a quantum level of a device. And note the scale. On the bottom, you see the whole image is 10 nanometers. Okay, so this is really high resolution. So it not only gives you information about the noise, the sources of noise in actual materials that are used for memory devices, but it also introduces some new physics, and there's a lot of interest in that. So I'd like to conclude with a thought. How important is that? It's my last slide, if I can make it work. Good, all right, there we go. Last year in December, Google announced a new quantum processor called Willow, and at the same time, approximately, they published a paper which says error correction before the etc. The point of the paper is to reduce the effect of noise, what I was showing in the previous slides, right? That's the problem. You don't want that. You want less noise. And this paper deals with noise. I won't go into the details of that paper, but what I'd like to do is illustrate the value, numerical dollar value of this. When that paper was published, on the same day, Google stock went up by 10%. That's Alphabet stock. The value of that is $234 billion US dollars. So noise may sound boring, but there is some interest. And this is a nice microscopy tool that we can use to look at it. And it's all part of all micro. So I'll stop there. Thanks very much.
Thank you all for your presentation. So, I would just take advantage right before your question that I hope we will receive. I would just like to take advantage and to ask to all of you about, well, you sort out, I think, extremely well how is important scientifically and, you know, from company, from research center. I have to admit, in several cases, there are people that need a microscope, they don't know yet. Thinking about company, you know, for patenting, you have new idea, but when you go down to the materials, when you go down to new activity, you don't know yet maybe you need one of these 15, 16 magic instruments that we share in this network. Well, clearly, I will start with a question over then proposing to the company and so on, and I will present this question to Mattia. What other activity as a network we can implement to, you know, increase the knowledge or prepare the future generation of this kind of activity or this possibility?
Okay, which activities we perform in all micro to reach our objectives? The first objective I mentioned before was the better networking between the labs. And this, one of the way in which we do this is the so-called cross-training, which means that there are some sessions in which the staff of a given institute, for example, University of Nova Gorica, goes in the labs of another institute, for example, CNR or Nano Center, and they receive some training to understand what are the capabilities and how does the other microscope in the other partners works. So basically we go there and they teach us how to use their machines and what can be done in their labs. A second activity, maybe the most important, is the one that Professor Mihailovic already spoke about, which is the proof of concept experiments. And this means that external users, for example, companies or research institutes, also hospitals, for example, Burlo is the pediatric hospital in Trieste, they came to All Micro to ask for this. So what is a proof of concept experiment? External users can come and ask for some analysis, which require microscopy, of course. They can also ask for a meeting, a pre-meeting, to ask what can be the best, if the request is feasible, what are the capabilities of microscopy and so on. And then they can ask to make a proof of concept experiment, so a trial experiment to see if microscopy is suitable, is feasible to answer their questions. And this is for free, it's financed by the project. Then, as Professor Mihailovic said, if they see that this is something that they need, then they can ask for collaboration or services and so on. But the first round is for free, is given by the project, let's say. And and this is probably the most important and also the most funny activity that we perform in the project, because it's also fun when you receive some requests from the real world, let's say, of industry, and you try to help them. And the last activity that I mentioned is the schools. So we offer some training to the academic staff. Now there will be a school in optical microscopy in the next week, or
next month.
Next month, sorry.
3 weeks.
3 weeks. And in University of Trieste and CNR, and there will be in February a school of electron microscopy, mostly at Nova Gorica and the Nano Center. And these are schools, 1 week, for academic staff, so PhD students and postdoc and so on. So where they can learn what is in the territory and which, how do they work. It's a hand-on school, so they can touch and try to do microscopy. And also training for companies or technical staff. We are going to organize some session for training of technicians coming from the companies that they can learn how to use the microscopes, and they can see if it is interesting, and later to start collaboration with the laboratories. These are 3 activities. Then there are others, but I don't want to.
Thank you. So from now on, I think that we can, I close it. We can start for your curiosity and question, and to have if you have any idea or request for someone from the audience, I think that everyone will be more than happy to reply.
I have a question for
Yeah.
In terms of money, is more expensive work with microscopy or nanotechnology, and why?
Sorry.
Is more expensive work with materials in microscopy or nanotechnology?
It depends on what you want to do and what is what are the requirements for your project. For example, if in your project, maybe I couldn't understand perfectly, you are asking about the money of the education doing projects in nanotechnology or material?
You have thought about the economic aspect of the materials.
Yes.
And my question is if it's more expensive.
Material is more expensive. Okay,
which
I
material
understand. Micros, for sure, using high-tech microscopy is expensive, is really expensive. But there is another problem regarding material. There are materials that you are not allowed to work with them inside your lab, for example. And so in this case, you have to ask another laboratory that they can work with it. And this all-micro network can help you in this regard. But for the material, no. I can tell just for few special material, yes, maybe it's really expensive, but microscopy is more expensive.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
In this case, I take advantage of the of the shyness to ask to Paulina in that case, because you mentioned that you had just this anniversary at the Tec4I, and so you deal more than the rest of the network with the real life of the company. So what is your feeling from the small and medium company that you have to talk on every day about the requirements in the world of microscopy in that case, but also thinking, I think a good example was, I think, the one with the 3D, but how much do you think that the message that the microscopy can be important for them is arrived to them?
So I think in general for small and medium companies or startups in general, sometimes they are really deep tech oriented, And so they, deep tech-oriented startup knows where to go, what to ask for, and where to search for it. But another type of companies not so deep into the technology can have a lot of troubles to understand where to go and how to approach a laboratory, a research center, university. So basically, the main problem for them is to have somebody to show them the path toward the technology. And since basically, as we all know, it's costly. This is the first burden. They know it costs, so they do not know how to access them from this point of view. So in this case, projects like OurMicro are a real opportunity for them to try a technology otherwise not accessible for them. And as you said, during our anniversary event, we presented a case study from one of our companies from the incubator. And our partners, University of Trieste. So we met these two realities because we knew the company had this necessity of assessing the materials, and our network had the microscopy right for them. And in this case, they could solve the problem somehow and access this advanced technology. So I think through these European projects, through promotional events we organize, through festivals like we are now here, it can give a perspective to the companies that, okay, hey, these technologies are there and we can use them as like they are there for us. We can touch them, we can use them for us, and we can use them for go further with our activities.
Okay. So while I wait for, in case for hands, I will try to push Professor Dragan, Mihailovic, sorry, because we are quite, we are an example of how broad can be even the background. I'm a biotechnologist or biologist if you want, we're physicists, chemistry. So, and you point out in that case, you gave us a couple of examples, but really I have real trouble to find out a field in which sooner or later you will never have to have a look at the microscopic level. So have you ever sorted out, because if you think about, from cheap biomedical, all biomedical things that we can use, all diagnostic tools, you really, do you have never ever met someone and told them, no, you probably will never need to look at the microscope?
That's a good question. Yes, I have, and they're called theorists. Okay. So, generally speaking, I even recall a very famous theorist saying apologetically that he actually started his career by using microscopy, and then it was too hard for him, so he went to do theory. This is went on to win a Nobel Prize. But I think the bottom line is that if you're blind, you can't really make any decisions or make any progress. And microscopy is just a tool to see what you're doing. And the frontier is moving as we expect. You're looking at smaller and smaller things, or looking at faster moving things, which is very important. Or we can do much better analysis, like in biology. This is really fantastic what one can do on a single cell. Virtually I don't know how long you can spend on a single cell, but it seems like you can spend a long time just looking at one cell. And this is something that is really was unthinkable a long time, not so long ago. I think but the bottom line is, yes, eventually you need to look at what you're doing. You need to investigate now whether this is really a classical. The microscopy is no longer thing that you put on a table. It's usually a device and a computer screen, right? And a little bit of you have to put the sample in somewhere. But so eventually you want information on how the system behaves, whether it's a device that you put in a car, for example, and you need to know that it's going to withstand 120 degrees in the sunlight. When it overheats, it should not stop. I mean, it should not deteriorate. All these things, eventually you need to know why it fails. So even in the most basic industries, like car industry, you still need microscopy. So I think, generally speaking, it's a tool for everyone, and I strongly encourage kids to buy any children you have around you, you just buy them a microscope.
Okay. Please. Yep.
Thank you. My question is about the project, the All Micro project, because it's supposed to end in 2026. I just wanted to know, will you be able to achieve all your goals for the network, or would you like to expand it even after 2026? Thank you.
Good question. I can, just a spoiler, we were speaking about this right before arriving here. So in that case, even if I'm the chair, as a coordinator, as one of the partners, I take advantage of, well, clearly, all the effort involved in generating the network, the cross-training, sharing the knowledge of the people. Here, we are really few of us, but things about all the technicians involved, and they all shared, let's say, that minimum 10 to 20 years experience for all of them on specific machine or techniques. So clearly, we don't want to waste this kind of, especially because we are still there. So in 2 years, in 1 year, officially the Interreg project as itself will be closed, but will be there. So clearly, the main idea of the project is that right now, thanks to the European Union, we were able also to offer completely for free to private companies, research center, this proof of concept. So even the idea, you think about a PhD student, a researcher from CRO, Aviano, or from another university, from asking, I need to verify this idea, I found the paper, I found the research where they use these cutting-edge microscopy techniques that I was expecting to find it only, I don't know, in the best center in the world. I can have it here, so I can try it, but it's for free, because you can try it and you can check. So clearly, that part right now is sustained, economicals can be done. Hopefully, we will try in the way to bring on, to also to provide this for free. Clearly, our aim and our final output would be to maintain the network itself, because it's, the share of the knowledge, the techniques, and as was pointed out by Behnaz, sometimes the limitation. There's no point to have any one of us all the possible microscope. You don't need, also it's not economically feasible in an area when we are more or less 100, well, probably we are the farthest away, 100 kilometers away, slightly, so, but less. So there's no point. There's no point to have, to multiply the instruments that all require expensive maintenance and knowledge. So clearly, we want to, the main objective is to keep open the network. You will find it online at the allmicro.eu. You will find all the information about this. Thank you. I will ask about, at this point, about about what we have, about more or less about instruments or whatever. Now, this is more one of my, let's say, poll inside the network, just to see what would be your dream output of this collaboration that we are having right now, to all of you. So just a minute for it, just having, being able to convince the European Union to give us new microscopy, or to give us, so whatever it is, what is I'm going to take notes, and at least we're going to, thank you, okay, to all of you.
Let me say that this is the second project of this type. Mattia and I have already been in one before, where some of these concepts of interacting with industry were established and really worked well. I have to be honest that I was quite skeptical about this Interreg scheme altogether. It's very bureaucratic, a lot of work for administration. But in the end, I think in the previous project, how many there was 60 or something projects?
35
but,
or 40.
Okay, right. Anyway, the big number. In this case, I think it's 9 or 10, but the other project was longer, and it was also almost 3 times, 2.5 times as large financially. The point, that I want to make is that the concept was proven. It still works well. It would be a shame not to be able to have it continuously. And I think this is my dream, if I may say. It would be great to just simply have this online all the time. You can now even ask a large language model, what is the best microscope that you use for this, whatever. It'll tell you, and then the next question is, where is the nearest microscope for that? And it'll tell you. And then all you have to do is come and see, go online and get in touch with Microscopy Center. I think this would be a really neat way to proceed, and progress for both academia and industry would be really obvious.
I can only agree. No.
Sorry, I didn't come out.
It was like a very nice sum up of our common dream, I think. But is to give something like to show to from our perspective, to show to the companies that from European project especially, we have something tangible and durable. Like not, and I think we are showing it that effectively the network is working. But the European projects are not only about themselves, but they give an added value to the territories.
I hope at the end of this project, not end, I hope no, because we are thinking to have a network, and we build this network to, for example, CNR-IOM buy something that Trieste doesn't have, or Trieste buy something that we don't have. If we lose at the end this network, it will be really bad for us. I hope this will continue, and the idea of networking is really the first thing that pops in our mind for all the projects. Now we are not just counting on just our devices, also the devices that all the collaborators they have through All-Micro. And this is really good opportunity for us, and I hope continue.
They already stealed all the nice answers. But if I have to say what is my dream, is more or less what Professor Mihailovic said, that there is a continued, long-lasting opportunity for companies and research center to try for free and access the microscopy which are available in the region. So an instrument which is, let's say, permanent, no, somehow. So, and because 2 years for this project are enough to set up the things, build up the machine, and start doing something, but definitely is not enough to make this process, this opportunity known by all the people and perfectly working. So it takes more time, and I hope that it will be continued.
I take also mine part to say. I would go to the, well, my dream is more, in that case, I would move more didactical. I think I came out as a university professor, and my dream is that thanks to this kind of network, we can increase permanently, clearly, the opportunity for the future generation. Because it's the future generation of students, of PhD students, researcher, and start-upper, and in future industrial chief that will be able to understand, not ex post, like we are trying right now to do with their company, but even before starting a company, knowing what they have, so forming the new generation of people knowing these techniques, okay? So let's see, I'm seeing sign from the bottom to see, because we just have a few minutes. Yep.
So I wanted to ask you if you would have to make any recommendation to any other scientific partnership or consortium on how to build an effective scientific consortium and to promote scientific collaboration, what would be your recommendation for your personal experience in this project? Like in general, maybe it's not like facilities, but other kind of scientific collaboration. What is your take on how the project developed?
Well, maybe I'm the new guy because I'm the only one not present in the previous. I think, well, I have to admit, the main idea is that there should be a real common interest. There are in several cases consortiums that are based by the occasion or based by the fact that sharing more or less the same area or the same opportunity, but not maybe the same final goal. Here, as you heard by us, we were stealing each other the final output or the final dream because we had the same idea at the end. So that's the best, that's the easiest way to make a consortium, because if everyone wants the same things, it's easier to divide the burden of the administrative staff that, as reported by Professor Mihailovic, can be really tough, especially for a European project. It's required, but it's, I think, from my point of view, is that one, the real, having the common interest in what you want to pursue. That's the main idea.
It's been a fabulous, brief presentation. It has to be concise here. I'm curious about this, if you'll forgive my asking this kind of a question. In effect, the 2-year grant that you've obtained has allowed you your own proof of concept experiment in this kind of networking and collaboration. If I might ask, which of your initial expectations or aims are you satisfied that you've achieved, and which ones might need more effort, or you're expecting to give them more effort in your remaining time, and which ones seem to be more elusive than you had expected?
Okay. I think that as a leading partner, I just won this. No, from the, I think we can, well, receiving good feedback from the Joint Secretariat, from the European Union about the advancement of what were our, this weird terminology, deliverables and output. We are in line with what we were doing, even in advance with several points, so in advance in time. So we are definitely satisfied for what we are achieving here. Clearly, and this is one of the output that we add to the project of the Europe was the stabilization of this kind of network. So we are satisfied, but clearly we would be sad if in 6 months we would get lost because there is no more the classical opportunity. One thing that is a burden, if you want, of this kind of networking activities that you have to meet on a monthly basis or every few weeks. We have the board of experts revising all the new requests coming for the sharing which instruments is the best one, or the students' request for their PhD research and so on. So clearly it's an effort that we have to add to our own regular activity. But it's extremely satisfying with the final idea that can be somehow stabilized for the future. So we are, at least from my side, I'm fully satisfied from the project how it's working right now. Clearly, the final satisfaction will be knowing that in 1 year, with the project no more sustained by this Interreg, can be open the door to future funds for the stabilization for for the maintaining of the network. Thank you. Yeah, I just saw the. Okay, so probably I will. There are other questions. Okay, so in this case, given the sign from the bottom that we are right in the last minutes of the room and to leave the room, so I will let you. I do it from top. So okay, so I'll start. So thank you again for being here. Hopefully the board of experts present here was able to interest you and to provide you a new ideas of what can be achieved working in a network environment, and what is right now the cutting edge, thanks to the example brought by Professor Mihailovic, the cutting edge microscopy right now, and how the impact can change the economy of a world, because 10% on Google is about 10 times the Italian GDP in this moment. So up to now, so thank you. Hopefully you are enjoying this next. Thank for selecting this venue today, and keep on exploring the activity out here for the next presentation, or outside in the plaza. Okay? Thank you, everyone. Bye. Sorry, just because, and for at least for all the people, but also for the, we have some gadget, at least for all the people that makes the question, for sure, but but just as a reminder of this, of our network, so the all micro activity presented here. Thank you, everybody. Bye.